They told you it was just burnout. They told you it was just the economy. But deep in your spirit, you know they are wrong. There is a specific type of heaviness that only arrives before a move of God. And if you are feeling it right now, you are standing on the threshold of 2026. In this documentary, we aren't just looking at headlines, we are decoding the frequency of the next 2 years. We are going to explore the divine disconnection, the cosmic alignments on the Feast of Purim, and the 7-step protocol you must follow if you want to be a Joseph in a time of pharaohs. This is episode 1 of the 2026 prophecy. If you were here, you were chosen to hear this. Let's begin.
If you felt an unusual heaviness since the year began, a weight that sleep cannot cure and words cannot fully describe, you must understand one thing. This is not random. You are not losing your mind, and you are not falling behind. You are being recalibrated. God always sends a signal before a shift. In the ancient world, it was the flight of birds or the darkening of the sun. In 2026, the signal is internal. It is a spiritual frequency shift that only those who are tuned in can hear. Most of the world will miss this because they are distracted by the digital noise, the political theater, and the frantic pace of modern life. But you are here, watching this, because your spirit has already recognized the frequency. If you feel the shift, subscribe and hit the bell. We are tracking these signs daily. Why 2026? To understand the sign, we must understand the timing. We are entering a window of divine realignment. Throughout Scripture and history, God works in cycles of 7s and 8s. 7 is the number of completion. 8 is the number of new beginnings. As we approach the midpoint of this decade, the old ways are being dismantled to make room for the new. The first sign is what theologians call the Great Disconnection. Many of you have commented that you feel tired of everything. You find yourself withdrawing from social circles. Your favorite entertainment no longer amuses you. Even your prayers might feel different, less like a list of requests and more like a heavy, silent waiting. This heaviness is actually the weight of glory. It is the pressure of a new season pressing against the shell of your current life. For the butterfly to emerge, the cocoon must become uncomfortably tight. 2026 is the year the cocoon breaks. God is sending this sign to separate the called from the distracted. If you feel this heaviness, it is a signal to stop running. It is a signal to enter the secret place. Because what comes after this heaviness is a level of clarity and power that the world hasn't seen in generations. To know where we are going in 2026, we must look at where we have been. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, which means His methods are consistent even when the centuries change. There is a spiritual law known as the law of the first signal. Before every major upheaval in human history, whether it was the liberation of a nation or the fall of an empire, there was always a period of unusual heaviness, exactly 2 years prior. This is the warning track of providence. Before the world was plunged into the chaos of 1914, history records a strange phenomenon in 1912. It was a year of eerie calm mixed with profound restlessness. If you look at the journals of intercessors and thinkers from that era, they spoke of a heaviness in the air that they couldn't explain. They felt a disconnection from the Victorian-era stability. God was signaling that the old world was dying. Those who listened moved their families, secured their resources, and prepared their hearts. Those who ignored the heaviness were swallowed by the sudden shift of 1914. Just as 1912 was to 1914, 2024 and 2025 are the preparation for the 2026 breakthrough. Consider 1948, the year Israel was re-established, a key prophetic milestone. But the first sign didn't happen in 48, it happened in 1946. There was a sudden global urge for homecoming.
A spiritual weight fell on people groups across the earth to return to their roots. This is the frequency of realignment. In 1946, the heaviness felt like a longing for a place people had never been. If you're feeling a spiritual homesickness right now, a feeling that you don't belong in your current environment, you are catching the 1946 frequency. You are being moved into position for the 2026 manifestation. There is a recurring 26 pattern in the spiritual realm. 1926 saw the birth of global mass media, changing how the word was spread. 1956 was the year of the Hebrides revival and a massive shift in global missions. 2026 is the next coordinate. The heaviness you feel is the centrifugal force of history spinning faster. When a carousel speeds up, the force tries to push you off. To stay on, you have to move towards the center. That center is the secret place. The reason your old distractions aren't working is that God is making the periphery of your life uncomfortable so that you will move to the center. Pause for a moment. Look back at your life exactly 2 years ago. Do you see the pattern of what God was removing? Tell us in the comments, "I see the pattern." Your testimony strengthens those who are still in the fog. Why does God use heaviness as a sign, not a bright light or a loud voice? Because heaviness requires focus. When you are light and carefree, you scatter your attention. When you feel a weight, you look for where it's coming from. God is using your discomfort to force a deep look. In 2026, the first sign will culminate in what we call the Great Recalibration. This is when your internal GPS stops looking at your past mistakes and locks on to your future mantle. But the lock-on cannot happen if you are still vibrating at the speed of the world. The heaviness is God's hand slowing your heart rate so He can perform surgery on your vision. Most people treat prophecy as something purely mystical, a cloud of emotion or a vague feeling. But the God who created the heavens and the earth is the great architect of science. He communicates through frequency. When we speak of the heaviness of 2026, we are not just talking about a mood, we are talking about a spiritual resonance. In this chapter, we are going to pull back the veil. We are going to look at how your physical body and your eternal spirit are reacting to a literal change in the heavenly atmosphere. In physics, there is a principle called sympathetic resonance. If you have two tuning forks tuned to the same frequency and you strike one, the other will begin to hum, even if they aren't touching. God is currently striking a new chord for the year 2026. If you are feeling a strange humming in your spirit, or conversely, a violent friction, it is because your internal frequency is being forced to match the new season. The heaviness you feel is actually interference. It is the sound of your old habits, your old fears, and your old environment clashing with the new frequency God is emitting. The heaviness isn't God trying to crush you, it's the resistance of your old self to the new sound. Even secular science acknowledges the Schumann resonance, the heartbeat of the Earth, usually measured at 7.83 Hertz. For decades, this frequency was stable, but in recent years we have seen unprecedented spikes and blackouts in this resonance. Prophetically, the earth is groaning, Romans 8:22. As we approach 2026, the physical and spiritual frequencies are merging. This is why you feel like time is speeding up. This is why you feel overstimulated even when you are sitting in a quiet room. Your spirit is picking up on the acceleration of the divine timeline. Ancient scholars and modern neurotheologians alike have looked at how our physical bodies receive spiritual signals. There is a reason the first sign feels like a pressure in your mind and heart. When God sends a signal of shift, it affects your perception of reality. You start to see through the illusions of the world. The things that used to matter, status, fleeting trends, the pursuit of more, suddenly seem blurry or gray. This is your spiritual vision being adjusted. If you are experiencing brain fog followed by moments of intense, piercing clarity, take note. That is the frequency of 2026 breaking through. It is clearing the debris of the last decade to make room for the revelation of the next. Stop for a second. If you felt a literal pressure in your chest or a ringing in your spirit when you pray lately, comment, "I am tuned." We are building a map of where the Spirit is moving most heavily right now. What happens if you ignore the frequency? In music, dissonance creates tension that must be resolved. If God is pulling you toward the quiet for 2026, but you are forcing yourself to stay in the noise, you will experience what many call burnout. But it isn't burnout, it's dissonance. You are trying to play an old song in a new key. The first sign is your invitation to stop playing, to sit in the silence until your heart beats in time with His. In 2026, the world will be louder than ever. Geopolitical tension, economic shifting, and technological upheaval will create a shouting match for your attention. The only way to survive is to have your frequency locked to the Father's voice before the storm hits its peak. If you find your phone getting quieter, your social circle shrinking, and your desire for the crowd evaporating, do not be afraid. You are experiencing the most misunderstood phase of the 2026 prophecy, the Divine Disconnection. Most people mistake this for loneliness. They think they're being rejected by people, but in reality, you are being protected by God. For the shift of 2026 to be successful in your life, God must first create a consecrated void. He's clearing the stage so that the only voice you can hear is His. Scripture tells us that every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Pruning is a violent process. It involves the removal of things that are healthy but no longer strategic. In this season leading into 2026, you may feel a sudden, inexplicable friction with people you've known for years. Conversations feel forced. Values no longer align. You might even feel ghosted by those you thought were your pillars. This is God unplugging you from the collective consciousness of the world. Why? Because the world is headed for a period of intense confusion. If you remain tethered to the wrong voices, you will be swept up in their panic. The divine disconnection is God putting you in a spiritual Faraday cage, a place where the electromagnetic storms of the world cannot interfere with your signal. History shows that every major mantle is preceded by a season of isolation. Moses spent 40 years in the desert to unlearn the frequency of Egypt. Paul was taken to Arabia for 3 years before his ministry exploded. John was isolated on the Isle of Patmos when he received the ultimate prophecy. The first sign of 2026 is the invitation to your own Patmos. If you are currently in a waiting room in your life, unemployed, single, or simply feeling hidden, understand that secrecy is the womb of power. In 2026, those who were hidden in 2024 and 2025 will be the ones who carry the blueprint for the new era. You are not being buried, you are being planted. We live in a world that is terrified of silence. We fill every gap with podcasts, music, or scrolling, but silence is the operating system of the Spirit. The divine disconnection is designed to break your addiction to external validation. In 2026, the systems of man will be shaken. If your peace depends on the stock market, the news cycle, or your follower count, you will be shaken with them. God is disconnecting you from those life support systems now so that you can learn to draw your life directly from the vine. If you have lost friends or felt a pulling away from the world in the last 6 months, type "set apart" in the comments. Let this be a digital altar where we recognize that we are being separated for a purpose. 1. The loss of taste. You no longer enjoy the things you used to. Your old sins don't even tempt you, they just bore you. 2. The peace in the void. Even though you are alone, you don't feel lonely. There's a strange underlying peace in the quiet. 3. The midnight wake-ups. You find yourself wide awake between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. This is the watchman's hour, where the veil is thinnest and God is downloading the 2026 instructions into your spirit. Embrace the disconnection. The world calls it isolation. God calls it intimacy. The sign is here. The door is closing on the old, and in the silence of the secret place, the 2026 vision is being born. While the first sign begins as an internal heaviness and a divine disconnection, it does not stay hidden. God is a God of order, and the spiritual atmosphere always leaks into the physical world. In 2026, the silent whisper in your spirit will be matched by a shout from the cosmos. Luke 21:25 tells us, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." As we move into 2026, this isn't just ancient poetry, it is a celestial roadmap. 2026 is marked by a rare series of lunar events that biblical scholars have watched for centuries. Specifically, a total lunar eclipse, a blood moon, will fall directly on March 3rd, 2026. This is no ordinary date. It coincides with the Jewish feast of Purim. Historically, Purim celebrates the story of Esther, a time when a death decree against God's people was overturned in a single day. When a blood moon falls on Purim, it signals a great reversal. Things that looked like a certain defeat for you in 2025 will suddenly flip into a victory in 2026. The heaviness you feel now is the buildup of the tide before it turns. Later in the year, on August 12, 2026, a total solar eclipse will sweep across the globe. In prophetic tradition, solar eclipses are often seen as signs for the nations, specifically signals of shifting power and darkness falling upon the systems of men. This eclipse is a mid-decade marker. It represents the closing of a door. Just as the sun is momentarily blotted out, the systems you have relied on, the global economy, the digital infrastructure, the social order, will experience a flicker. God is showing the world that its light is artificial, and only His light is eternal. Jesus warned that the seas and the waves would roar. In prophecy, the sea often represents the masses of people, the nations. 2026 will see a surge in what we call geopolitical perplexity. The east-west friction. As the first sign intensifies, we will see old alliances crumble. The economic ripple. Predictions of a cash crash or a global re-indexing of gold and commodities are not just theories, they are the physical manifestation of God shaking the heavens so that only the unshakable remains. Hebrews 12:26. The natural disasters we see, the earthquakes and extreme weather patterns, are the Earth's labor pains. The planet is reacting to the same frequency shift you are feeling in your bedroom at 3 a.m. Are you watching the skies or the screens? The signs in the heavens are meant to look up, not down. To the world, 2026 will look like a year of unprecedented coincidences. They will call it climate change, they will call it political instability, they will call it a statistical anomaly, but you will call it the signal. Because you felt the heaviness first, you won't be surprised when the stars react. Because you embraced the disconnection, you won't be panicked when the systems fail. The cosmic signs are not meant to scare you, they are meant to locate you. They are the "you are here" dot on God's map. As we approach 2026, the heaviness we've discussed moves from the internal spirit to the external marketplace. This is perhaps the most tangible part of the first sign. While the world talks about the Great Reset or CBDCs, the Bible speaks of a different phenomenon, the wealth realignment. Proverbs 13:22 tells us that the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. But this wealth doesn't just transfer through a bank wire, it happens through a systemic shaking. In 2026, we are going to see the first sign manifest as a breakdown of trust in man-made systems to make room for a divine provision. For decades, the world has operated on fiat faith, the belief that the system works because we all agree it does. But as the 2026 frequency intensifies, that agreement begins to fracture. We are moving into what economists might call a liquidity crisis, but what the Spirit calls a Sabbath of the systems. Just as God commanded the land to rest every 7 years, there is a financial Sabbath coming to the global markets.
The heaviness you feel in your finances, the sense that your money doesn't go as far, or that your traditional investments feel unstable, is the signal to diversify into the kingdom economy. In 2026, the definition of value is going to change. We are moving away from speculative wealth and back towards substantive wealth. The land signal. There will be a massive movement toward returning to the soil. This is the physical side of the divine disconnection. The wisdom capital. In the 2026 shift, the most valuable currency won't be in your wallet, it will be the revelatory word in your spirit. When the world is in perplexity, as Luke 21:25 says, the person with the Joseph blueprint becomes the most valuable person in the room. 2026 aligns with a significant prophetic year of release. In the ancient world, the Jubilee was a time when debts were canceled and property was returned to its original owners. The first sign in your finances is often a sudden unsettling of your debts. You might feel an urgent, almost supernatural drive to get free from the system. This isn't just good advice, it's a survival instinct. God is calling His people to get outside the camp of the global debt structure before the 2026 realignment begins. Has God been speaking to you about your finances? Are you feeling the pull to get debt-free or to invest in something more eternal? Comment provision to join our community of kingdom stewards who are preparing for the 2026 shift. Do not fear the headlines of 2026. For the world system, it will be a year of famine, but for the kingdom system, it will be a year of Goshen. Remember, in Egypt, there was darkness in every house except in the houses of the children of Israel. There was light in Goshen. The first sign of the 2026 economic realignment is the feeling that you can no longer play the game by the world's rules. If you try to use the world's tactics, greed, hoarding, and fear, you will fail with the world. But if you use the king's tactics, generosity, sowing, and radical faith, you will find yourself in a surplus that defies the math of 2026. We have analyzed the heaviness, the cosmic alignments, and the economic shaking, but information without application is just noise. If you are among those who recognize the first sign, you are no longer a spectator, you are a participant. As we cross the threshold into 2026, you need a blueprint. This is not a theory, it is a survival and revival protocol designed to move you from the path of the storm into the center of the secret place. Step 1. The digital fast, frequency cleansing. You cannot hear a whisper in a hurricane. To tune your spirit to the 2026 frequency, you must intentionally lower the noise floor of your life. The action? Set a Sabbath for your senses. 1 day a week or 3 hours a day, disconnect from every screen. The result? This forces your brain out of the dopamine loop and into the prophetic flow. You will find that the heaviness begins to lift as your mind stops processing the world's panic. Step 2. The consecration of the home, Goshen environment. In 2026, your home must transition from a residence to a sanctuary. In the days of the Exodus, the plague could not enter the houses marked by the blood. The action? Walk through your home. Remove anything that vibrates with the old frequency, media, objects, or even clutter that represents a season of past trauma. The result? You are creating a Goshen. When the external world feels like chaos, your physical environment will be a zero-G zone for the Holy Spirit. Step 3. The asset realignment, kingdom diversification. Stop waiting for the perfect time to get your house in order. The action? Move towards tangible value. Whether it's paying off a high-interest debt, storing physical resources, or investing in kingdom skills like gardening, healing, or teaching, you must decrease your reliance on the grid. The result? You remove the hook that the world system has in your jaw. Fear loses its power when you aren't dependent on the system's permission to survive. Step 4. The strategic silence, the Joseph mouth. This is the hardest step. When the first sign hits, most people want to vent, complain, or post about it. Don't. The action? Practice prophetic secrecy. When God gives you a download about 2026, keep it in the womb of your spirit. The result? Words are energy. When you talk too much about what God is doing, you leak the power intended for the manifestation. Like Mary, ponder these things in your heart. Step 5, the physical recalibration, the Daniel diet. Your body is the temple, but it is also the receiver. In 2026, the physical demands of the shift will be high. The action? Simplify your intake, reduce the processed noise in your diet, increase your water intake and your time in the natural light, the sun. The result? This isn't about fitness, it's about clarity. A clean receiver catches the 2026 signals with zero distortion. Step 6, the community of the few, the remnant circle. You cannot survive the 2026 shift alone, but you also cannot survive it with the wrong people. The action? Audit your circle. Who strengthens your faith? Who drains your oil? The result? You need a fire circle. When one person's light grows dim, the others keep the flame alive. This is the microchurch model of the Book of Acts. Step 7, the final surrender, the Isaac altar. The final step is to place your future on the altar. The reason the heaviness is so intense is that you are still trying to control the outcome of 2026. The action? Every morning say this: Lord, I give you my 2026. I am not a citizen of the crisis. I am an ambassador of the kingdom. The result? Total immunity from fear. When you have already given your life to God, there is nothing the world can take from you. This is the protocol. It is not a suggestion, it is a strategy. If you are committing to these 7 steps, type "I am in the comments. We are keeping track of everyone who joins this remnant protocol for the 2026 release.
We have traveled through the signs in the Spirit, the patterns of history, the shifting of the stars, and the shaking of the world's foundations. But as this message concludes, I want to lead you away from the what and into the who. The first sign of 2026 is ultimately not a warning of destruction, but a signal of arrival. The King is moving closer to his people. The heaviness you feel is simply the proximity of his presence. Lift your hands where you are, or simply close your eyes and breathe in the stillness. Let us seal this word. Father, I thank you for every person hearing this voice. You have not given them a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. I pray right now that the heaviness they have carried would be transformed. Let it no longer be a weight of anxiety, but the kavod, the heavy, weighty glory of your Spirit. I speak peace over their homes. I declare that their divine disconnection is not a rejection, but a promotion. As the world enters a season of perplexity, let your people enter a season of Gosen, where there is light in every room, bread on every table, and a clear word in every heart. I seal the 7-step protocol over their lives. Give them the strength to fast from the noise and the courage to feast on your truth. You are no longer waiting for the sign. You are the sign. Your peace in the middle of 2026 will be the first sign to your neighbors, your family, and your coworkers that there is a kingdom that cannot be shaken. When they ask why you aren't afraid, you will have the blueprint ready. This is just the beginning of the journey. If this message has anchored your soul, I want you to do one final thing. Don't just subscribe, become a watchman. Share this video with the one person God just put on your heart. You'll know who they are. They're the ones who have been feeling the heaviness too. If this message resonated with your spirit, it's a sign that your receiver is still working. Don't let the noise of the world tune you out again. Subscribe to this channel to join our Watchman community. We will be releasing episode 2, Why January Determines the Rest of 2026, very soon.